Ask a simple question. Heading into this year, we couldn't even identify Jonathan Kuminga's role, correct?
No.
Okay. Look, I'm frustrated with the whole situation with JK, but why are we outraged at Kerr when we as fans couldn't even identify how we were going to utilize Jonathan Kuminga without, one of the bigger players taking a hit to their ego or their minutes or whatever? Well,
we just assumed that Jonathan Kuminga was going to be part of that top 8. Like, he feels like he's one of your 8 best players.
Did you think that he Kerr or the players trust GP2 over Kuminga?
Well, I know they trust GP2 over Kuminga. There's no doubt. But I also thought that, hey, going into training camp with everything everybody said and everything that was being said at practice and how some people say, man, this guy's an X factor. And the athleticism that he provides and the work that he put in the offseason and the size that he provides and the ability to get to the rim, the ability to be a very good perimeter defender, they figured that he was going to be part of the rotation at least and get his 20 minutes a game. We assumed that. I think it was okay to assume it, right?
I mean, I'm looking at it here. I get where you're coming from, but it's like we're saying top 8, right? And I don't want to get bogged down in the specifics, but Steph, Dre, Clay, Wiggins, GP2, CP3, Looney. That's 7 guys right there. That's 7 guys right there and there's some redundancy in terms of play. Saric, bringing him in, I didn't know he'd be used this much, but almost instantaneously it's like, oh, well, they trust him and he earns it. He plays a brand of basketball that really fits and he's a different position. So I put him in 8. I just feel like it was set up for Kuminga to be the odd man out, and I should have seen this coming.
That's not right. He shouldn't be the odd man out. You just think about this. Plays 23 minutes last Thursday night against the Clippers, scores 17 points, grabs his 6 rebounds. He's active. He's 6 of 8 from the floor, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. Then Saturday afternoon, you get a quick cook, and he only plays 16 minutes. And you blow the game. You blow a 22-point lead. You couldn't use him on James Harden in crunch time. You couldn't use him on Paul George in crunch time. I don't know. But it just seems like he could be a very good situational defender. Even in Sacramento, he struggles in Sacramento. Plays 10 minutes. Played 10 minutes against Sacramento. Coming off a game against San Antonio, in which he was active, going 5 of 7, scored 12 points. My thing is this: simplify the role for him. Simplify it.
What is the role?
Dunker spot, being in the post, and being a perimeter defender. It's quite simple to me. Rebound your ass off, get in a dunker spot. If occasionally if you need to float out to the three-point line and shoot a wide-open 3, so be it. He's not a bad shooter at all. I like his form, even though the percentages are down. I do like his form. I don't think it's the worst in the world. But he should be in that dunker spot, especially if GP2's. And now that GP2's gone for a while, he can't play the dunker spot.
No,
he puts as much pressure on the rim as anybody on his team, if not more. I mean, the alley-oop alone, going to the top of the backboard and grabbing that bad boy. That's the type of athleticism we're seeing and that we need on this team.
I 100% agree with you, but that is required then. Like the consequence then is Clay or Wiggins or CP3 or Looney or Saric.
It's called coaching, and it's called feelings are going to get hurt. You got to massage egos, and if egos are not, and if now it's on the players.
What do you mean?
Now if everybody's going to be a team guy, and they need to give up some minutes here and there, whether it's Clay, and I get Clay is probably going to take the biggest ego bruise because he isn't in a contract here. How does it affect his future money? How does it affect his future role in this league? I get why he would be mentally fragile, but you know what? We can't afford to be in anybody's feelings. We can't afford. Look, all these guys got paid. But in terms of winning basketball games, we got to do what's right. We have to do what's right.
But I guess my point is, like, if you're going to go Steph, Dre, and at times, CP3, like, again, Saric, Looney, Wiggins, or Clay, those guys have to take lesser of roles. And I have to try to also manipulate time for Moses Moody.
So be it.
Where I'm going is it almost feels inevitable. The only way Kuminga and Moody are going to be able to carve out a consistent spot, either one of them, not even both of them, just either one of them, is one of these guys that has to be gone, from the equation.
Well, Moody played 26 minutes yesterday. He got his 26. Podziemski got his 21. Kuminga ended up playing the last 16:44 of the basketball game.
Didn't feel enough.
Almost felt like it was too late.
Do you get where I'm going? I feel like something has to give.
Yeah, we've discussed this all season. This guy's got to sacrifice minutes. Now, Wiggins and Clay played 27 yesterday. All right, cool. Maybe it's 26. Maybe it's 25. The one constant I know is Draymond and Clay. Draymond and Curry need to play.
Agreed. They're
your two best players. They've got to play.
See, I think
everything else is on the table.
Well, yeah, and I think for me, it's like, okay, I'm lessening Looney's minutes. I'm trying to be solution-oriented here. I'm lessening Looney's minutes. I think I'm flip-flopping Saric and Looney right now.
Well, I think
on the depth chart.
You play the 5 spot based on matchups.
But I also think Dre needs to play the 5 in the closing lineups, down the stretch, or whether it be Kuminga as a small ball 5 on offense, but on defense, he's guarding the perimeter, and Dre's guarding the big man. Wiggins needs to play less minutes right now. I don't think he's earned it. And I think Clay needs to play less minutes. And what I mean is like 4 or 5 less minutes, each of them. I need like Wiggins in that 22 range right now. I need Clay in that 22 range.
See, here's the problem with set minutes. And I get where you're going. And I agree that people need to sacrifice, and you got to figure out some time for the youngsters. But what if Clay and Wiggins have it rolling?
So what?
You just cut it off at 22 minutes.
But
so
you
what?
can't have it both ways.
No. We got to go by game. Kerr said he's going to go game by game with the field.
So
you can't. I think you can't go into the basketball saying 22 minutes here, 22 minutes there. Because what if one of those guys get hot? What if they get hot? You know what I'm saying? Clay has been hot.
If one of them gets hot, it's called an outlier, right?
Well, no, that's not true. The last 7 games, Klay Thompson going into last night was shooting 40% from 3, giving you 19 points a game. He was playing better. Was he not? If Clay is getting hot, and Clay is having one of those nights, are you going to really say, you know what, Clay, we're at the 22-minute mark, let's bench you? No, honestly, game by game, if one of these guys get hot.
Well, then Kuminga's getting the short end of the stick again, and you can't complain
does that have to be Pajimski? Maybe it could be Pajimski. Maybe it could be Moody. Here's what Steve Kerr said about the lineup. Here's what Steve Kerr said about the lineup.
We talk about it every day. I've really been patient and hoping to get our first unit, from the last couple of years into a good groove. It's just easier to play and to coach when everybody knows exactly where they fit in. Role players, it's easier to play a role when kind of a set rotation and, the stars are playing well and all that. So everything, the puzzle kind of fits. So to be honest, the puzzle hasn't fit this year, and we've had a lot of guys playing well, but we may have to think about moving the starting lineup around game to game depending on who we're facing. I'd still prefer to get something solid, but we haven't really established anything this year, and we're a quarter of the way through, so there's definitely a lot of thought that's going to have to go into this.
Steve Kerr, just say it right there, folks, before we go out to the lines, that we may have to go to different starting lineups. And that, to me, signals it's not just Looney and Saric. He is looking at Clay. And he is looking at Andrew Wiggins. Because we know Draymond's going to start, and he deserves to start. Stephen Curry's not going anywhere. So those 2 constants right there. You got 3 spots up in the air. And Steve Kerr just said it right there. I've got to think about changing the lineups. You got to do something to shake. You got to get a jolt. You got to get some energy, because last night's win was not impressive. And if you're going to play like that every single night, then you're not going to the playoffs. You're not even going to be in a play-in tournament at this rate. And so you got some tough decisions. Mike Dunleavy, I'm sure, is like, let me see some of these guys. See if Kerr's got to because the problem is that people don't see this with the youngsters. They can help extend your career. You can't tell me that Kawhi Leonard didn't help extend the careers of Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, and Tim Duncan.
But they took a lesser role.
Exactly. And I think these guys are going to have to. They got to massage the ego. Steve Kerr's got to have uncomfortable conversations, and guys got to man up. If they can't man up, then we can find a solution for you. Then maybe you just don't need to be here anymore if you can't take a lesser role. But you got to sacrifice for the team. It's about the team, and we got to play this thing game by game. And Steve Kerr said it back on October 24th. Whoever's rolling, I'm finishing with. We're going to go by the flow of the game. So if Clay's playing well, guess what? You get to finish. CP3, if you're playing well, guess what? You get to finish. Kuminga, if you're playing well, guess what? You get to finish the game. Andrew Wiggins, if you're playing well, you get to finish the game. If you're not playing well, then we're going to have a situation like opening night in the first couple weeks of the season where you're not finishing. It is what it is. All right? We're trying to win basketball games here.
Well, so I guess my only, it's not issue, but it's like when you're a younger player, you need to play through mistakes, right? And so I think it's going to be very difficult if, I'm only playing the hot hand. Well, then we can't get frustrated when Kuminga hacks a guy, fouls somebody, and then comes out of the game immediately, or throws up a bad shot or a bad possession, and then the coach yanks him. Like, I would take a different approach, and I would say I have to find a way to carve out minutes so that this guy and Moody and even Podziemski to a lesser degree play through mistakes, and it has to come at the expense of some of the older players. And my big takeaway all year has been, and it's been about 2 years now, it's like I have to live and die with a lot of these mistakes from the young players if I want them to have consistent minutes. It's the only way it's going to happen. I don't know, like just playing the hot hand, well, then you're going to be left frustrated why they're not playing enough more times than not. At least I just feel that way.